All right, folks, let's come back together for our next docketed item here, please. We've got, this one was also docket PZ 16017, was also tabled last month. What we'll do here is remove it from the table as we have done, and then Ms. Alvey is going to give us a summary of kind of where we were last month, and then we'll open it back up. They've got a revised plat that they're, I think, going to present, and then we'll open it back up for additional testimony, and then we'll move forward from there for consideration on docket PZ 16017. So as chair, I'd like to ask if we could get a motion to remove that docketed item from the table for consideration. Mr. Finney?
I'll make a motion to remove it from the table and put it on for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion to place it back for discussion, remove it from the table. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, Ms. Bonet, I saw her hand go up, seconds it, and again, it's non-debatable, non-amendable, and comes to immediate vote. All those in favor of placing docket PZ 16017 back on the table for consideration signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Okay, docket is back on the table. And at this point, Ms. Alvey, if you would just kind of outline where we were as of last month.
Sure. What I'll do is I'll kind of go over the history of the division of the property and then compare the changes that they presented from the last record plat that you all saw last month compared to the one that they presented for today. So again, the property is zoned R1 and CO1. It started out approximately of 16.82 acres. This is just an aerial overview of the property, an area view of the property. This just shows the zoning, kind of divides the land there of R2 and CO1. The site has not been the subject of any previous planning commission actions. No action was taken last month, so there's no action's been taken. The applicant's attorney and surveyor presented a proposed record plat to the Planning Commission on April 26 of 2016, which included a road frontage variance request. After discussion regarding the removal of an access easement, it was determined that the Planning Commission could not consider the record plat as submitted, and the applicant and his representatives would have to have the easement released by all parties, and a new access easement would have to be agreed upon by all parties, and a new record plat be resubmitted for consideration. The docket was tabled to the May 2016 Planning Commission hearing. So this is the history of the property. It originally started out at 16.82 acres. Then in July of 1992, Tracts B and Tract C were created. In 1996, Tract D was created. In 1999, Tract E was created. In January of 2004, a deed of correction was filed for Tract D. In the survey that was filed with that deed of correction, which was dated June 10th of 1994, 10 years later, consolidates Tract C into Tract A. The home that was constructed on Tract C, which technically does not exist, was constructed over the property line and on an access easement. The home is actually located on Tract A, resulting in 2 homes on 1 parcel. So this gives you an overview of what this was originally Tract C, and then you have highlighted over here, this is the home that was built over the property lines of Tract C and on the access easement. The access easement is there in green. And then there was already an existing house here on Tract A. There were future minor plats that were reviewed and approved by staff in 2007 and 2008, but were never recorded, changing the shape and size of Tract E. After a meeting with the property owner and survey and his attorney, it was decided that a survey of the entire property needed to be completed based off the recorded minor plats and what was physically on the property. So this is the revised plat that the applicant resubmitted. They are proposing the reconfiguration of Tract A and Tract C. Tract C, they have lowered the acreage to 2.359 acres, which only requires 150 feet of road frontage. So they are asking only for a 56.42 foot of road frontage variance. So they have reconfigured Tract A and Tract C
Amy, would you go back? You said track C, but you meant track A, correct?
Tract A, yeah, I'm sorry. Tract A into 2.59 acres, which is asking for the road frontage variance. But they reconfigured tract C as well.
Okay.
Because previously there was tract F. So tract C and tract A both were reconfigured. Tract C has 10.665 acres.
Okay.
This is the revised minor plat for the tract that they are wishing to cut off, which would be tract A. The revised lines of that, it shows that the frontage there at the bottom is 93.58. Tracks A, B, and D will share an existing 30-foot access easement, and tracks C and E will share a new 40-foot access easement. So the tracks highlighted in blue will share the 30-foot easement, and then the tracks highlighted in red, which are tracks C and E, will use the new proposed 40-foot access easement. And then you'll see over here on the side, those access easement, the old access easement is the one that is to be released because the home was constructed over that existing easement. And then this is a comparison of the two, what the previous plat had versus what the current record plat is. The previous record plat had 6 tracks. The current record plat only has 5. So originally Tract A was 3.5 acres, and now they're going to 2.3 acres. So the original tracks B, D, and E, there are no changes to those tracks. Those are owned by individuals other than the applicant, and there are no changes to the acreage, shape, anything of that to those tracks, B, D, and E. So tracks A and C are the two that are being refigured on that. And that is the end.
All right, Commissioners, let me, do you have any questions for staff before we move into the presentation or testimony or whatever on the second part of the hearing? Have any questions for staff?
Ms. Albertson?
Congratulations that she got all that straight and
Right.
presented.
Thank
Right.
you.
All right, thank you. All righty, no questions for staff. We'll move on into and ask attorney to come forward. Mr. Craig Mile?
Oh, excuse me, Beach. I gotta get.
Yep, we'll get you sworn in, Mr. Garber. Get that done first.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Craig Mile, just for the record again, your name and address, please.
Beach Craig Mile, 105 South First Street, LaGrange, Kentucky.
All right, I know you were here last month and kind of outlined this and laid it out or whatever. We're going to kind of let you present the changes that you all are suggesting, and then, then we'll open it up for testimony and questions or whatever from the folks that are here that relates to this application.
Okay, I mean, that was an astounding presentation, and I study her presentations to understand this, okay? And we're probably gonna have to come back, because what's happened today is we have not quite got the easement release thing worked out yet. The grantees of the easement have not agreed to the proposed easement release. What we've proposed is granting this new 40-foot easement. Is this live here? Yeah, we're going to grant that 40-foot easement there. Yeah, this one here. And erase this one or delete this one in exchange, so this one will be gone. The problem is he built his house here. Okay, and their old easement used to go through there. What Mr. Adams did is he used to own Tract C, which used to be here. Apparently he got a building permit, and he said, well, I own this land here and I own that land there, and I like the lay of that land like there better, and apparently he built his house there because he owned both sides. Whatever it is, it ended up so that there's 2 pieces of property on Tract C, like Amy said. So what we did is to correct that, we've created Tract A here. Okay, and Tract A needs 56.42 feet variance, so that we could get a variance. And so, since there's a contract on that piece of property, we just, we decided to come here to try to get at least that accomplished today, is to get the variance approved, if that would be appropriate, and then come back after this minor plat. Have you got the minor plat on here? Yeah. Here's the minor plat here on the right, and, well, actually on the left, both sides, that we'd like to get approved today, which the only difference between what we had last month and today is that last month there was a line, this line went up there, which resulted in the tract being 2.59 acres, or 2.51 acres, whatever, so slightly over the 2.5 acre threshold for CO1 zoning, which would have required 300 feet of footage. So by just reducing it, by drawing this line like that, we cut it down to under 2.5 acres, so that this easement here only requires a 56-foot waiver or variance. If that's approved, then we could come back next month and we'll have the easements worked out. I mean, the easement is largely worked out. It's just they haven't agreed to it. I mean, I've got, a form, I've got the easement here. It creates, just for your information, the old easement came about from a deed that was in 1996 that was phrased just access easement. So we changed that to access and utilities, and then the Greens, whose house is served, wanted to know where the water line was, and so we included a 5-foot easement for the water line. And then what we intend to do is add, when we come back next month, if we could table that half of it, if that's procedurally possible, the Chairman, to draw the water utilities on the master plan. So that's where we are. We'd like to move forward on the variance today and table the portion of the proof of the record plat of the entire plat.
All right, does that complete your portion of it, Mr. Craigmile?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right, at this point, let me call on the neighbors back here, and do you all have anything that you all would like to add to this process at this point?
Mr. Commissioner, point of order.
Yes, sure.
Before we have any more testimony, can we have a clarification from legal about why we're having testimony on something that our county attorney had basically told us that we couldn't move forward based on the easement and based on what's already recorded on this 40-foot easement? And can we have a clarification? Because I would think that even though he's trying to subdivide this on a different track, it's still part of the original recorded deed. So could we have a clarification before we move forward? I know these people came to testify, but I think a point of order.
All right, let's, and I agree. Let's take about a 5-minute recess. I'd like to have Mr. Craigmile, our staff, and our attorney, and we'll go step out in the hall or whatever, and just, I want to get clarification on this so we can, just what we're going to do as far as the commission is concerned. So before we get your all's testimony, let's take about a 5-minute recess, and then we'll come back. Well,
Yeah, but I have